Hey everybody out there on the internets, it is I, Sam Miller, aka Kendama Joe, and welcome to another edition of the Mailbag. Well, with you guys, it's either feast or famine. I thank you for the plethora of emails that I received last week that I got to answer, and it took over 30 minutes to do it. I'm sorry I had to cut it up into sections because YouTube has these issues with my channel. But we're not going to talk about that. This week I only got 2 people sending me questions, but either way it's cool because I'll answer whatever you got. As long as it's mainly Kendama related, I'm happy. So let's start with our first one, and I'm making it all super technological here. My first questions come from a Robert Hemman. Okay? I don't know how to say your name. Just sorry, Rob. And he asks, first question, who is your favorite Kendama player? Well, Rob, that's easy. It's me. I'm my favorite Kendama player. Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. No, actually, that would show that I have too much ego, and my videos surely don't display me as some sort of egomaniac. But really, my favorite Kendama player would probably be Alex Ruisch. I like what he's doing for the community. He's a good ambassador for it, and I admire him just for that. He's got this nice laid-back style, and he's not really he's a good vocal member of the community, but he does not have an ego about it. Secondly would be Colin Sander, because I've known Colin for a long time. He got me into Kendama, so those 2 are really my favorites. Your second question here is, how did you make those big Kendama combinations like the ones in Kendama Edit 11? Oh, the ones where I joined up all the Kens? That comes from the idea that I got initially with my my Kendama 5 cup, that I got custom drilled and got pegs so that it was six pegs of doom, spikes of doom, and I wondered if I could actually stick other Kendama spikes into those peg holes, and turns out I could. So I decided, why not try to do something with that? So I actually, and it's probably a bad thing that I did that, but I'm one of these people who likes to experiment with anything. So I ended up just sticking the Kens into these holes, and it got bigger and bigger until I got to that last beast of a Kendama that I was playing with. And that's just sort of where it stemmed from. Because I'm one of these people that always has to constantly experiment with things, so that's why I went with that premise, to just keep on building it bigger and bigger. And I've thought of other combinations to do, it's just I haven't gotten around to actually doing anything with them. So be on the lookout, maybe, I don't know, for something Kendama related that's even weirder. Now, I have received flack for that big conglomeration of things that were called Kendamas. I remember specifically the Void did not like it. You know, but that's his taste, and that's alright. I mean, some people are Kendama purists. I'm just more of this going out in left field and creating whatever the heck I want with it. So, it is what it is. Next question. If you could be any Kendama player, who would it be and why? I think I'd rather be myself. Not to be facetious here, or even sound egotistical, really, I think I'd just rather be myself. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of talented guys that I am envious of their skill. The first person to really make me feel decrepit and ancient was Liho Chung. Does that mean I want to be him? No. Liho does what he does, it's cool. Does that mean, is there anybody in the United States that I want to be like? Not really, because even though I'm not big in the game anymore, as I used to be, if I really ever was, I'm just content with myself. I can't imagine me being anybody else. I mean, I got a good gig doing what I'm doing now, and I just couldn't imagine myself being anybody else, nor would I ever wish anybody's... I wouldn't wish my life on anybody else, ever, because it's not a pretty one. Do I have any tips on teaching kendama to novices? The one I used to tell all the time in my tutorials, bend your knees. It's one I thought was the greatest piece of advice I ever picked up. I got that from the old JKA website about bending your knees, and I thought that was like the smartest thing ever, and lo and behold, it's the greatest thing that you can do, because it helps you actually, every time you bend your knees going for a trick, you actually keep eye level with whatever it is that you're trying to do, so you're never adjusting your head in such a way that you lose sight of your target. So I think that always works best. But for anything else, refer to my tutorials. They're all on YouTube, on this channel. How to play kendama 1 through whatever. I'm still looking to try and get the previous kendama tutorials that were on Blip. If I can find them, I'm going to upload them onto this channel so that they'll still be here. And I know there's a couple on there like Lunar Lander, UFO, Stilts I think I did once. Stuff like that. And finally, Robert asks me, what is the hardest trick you've ever done? That's easy. The hardest trick I've ever done is anything related to that 5-ball / 6-spike kendama monstrosity that I made. Probably the hardest one that I can remember right off the top of my head was when I had all six spikes on that kendama, and I was going spike to spike and doing an earth spin with each. So basically like 7 earth spins, because I went back to the original spike, the top spike at the end, because I remember that trick took me, I filmed that trick probably 6 hours. 6 hours of consistently just going for it, just non-stop, like 2 different days. And that was probably one of the hardest tricks I've ever done, hands down. Okay, so next mailbag comes from a Caleb Entz. Okay. He has some questions. I'll just handle this in reverse order because the last one's not really related to kendama too much. The first question is, what do you think about the Mugen Musus kendamas? I don't. I know that there's this clamoring about how wonderful these things are, and I guess they're really expensive. I don't really have much of an opinion for them either way. I mean, it's kind of like the question that I got last week about all these kendama companies coming out, and my thing is, my argument would be this: if it's steeper in price, my question would be to that: is it worth that money? Like, do these Mugen Musus warrant that price? And right now, and within the community, the answer is yes. So there's no, you can argue all you want, like who would pay 300 whatever amount of money for a piece of wood with string, which is a viable argument. But you also have to think about what's in the market for that community. If kendama feels that is, the kendama community feels that is what it's worth, then they'll make it worth that much. They don't have to, but believe it or not, you, the community, actually dictate that. It's just the rule of capitalism, dude. Sorry. So that's sort of my response right now, just sort of relates to his second question. And it's not really kendama related, but I have no problem answering it because I've teetered around the questions before, so I'll just handle it anyway. And the question is, what do you do / teach at the university? Okay. I've mentioned this before in a lot of my edits that I've been going to grad school. I got my master's while I was playing kendama big time, and currently I'm getting my PhD. The program that I'm involved with is communication, and particularly my focus deals with media studies and gender studies, because that's what I do. But when I'm not doing that, when I'm actually working for the university, I am teaching. Yes, I am a professor. It's weird to think that, this is professor material, but believe it or not, it is. I teach, it depends on the semester. This semester I'm teaching one course of public speaking and another course of, it's called Communication Technology and Social Change. Fall semester I'll be teaching interpersonal communication, which is something completely different. My class sizes vary. One class I'll have 25 students, and another class I'll have well over 100. So I have to change up my style when I teach. But believe it or not, what I do, like how I talk to you right now, is basically how I talk to my classes. So I'm not this boring, monotone professor who talks about, so social media is doing all this stuff for society in such a way that movements are happening, and we have things like you have in Egypt, and blah 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 blah. No, I talk like this, and I wouldn't change it for the world. That's why I love what I do, because I can be me. Who wouldn't want to have a job where you could just be yourself and do what you do? Don't have to really worry about a dress code. I mean, I actually showed work up with this, and I kind of look like Charles Manson, and it's totally cool. So there's that. And because of that question, I have to give this bit of news. Thank you for these questions, by the way. That was really cool. The mailbag is not going to happen next week or the week after because, related to my job, they like us to go out and talk about our research. And my research got me an academic panel in Chicago, and I'm going to be presenting at that later this week. I won't be in Chicago long. I don't want to be in Chicago long. And the other one is, next week I will be spending 4 to 5 days in San Francisco doing research and also presenting a panel on the stuff that I do, that I'm working towards my dissertation. So, anybody who's watching this, in about 10 days or so, I will be in the San Francisco area, and contact me via Facebook. I'd like to see some things. I'd like to hang out with some of you guys in the San Francisco area. I know San Francisco is a big thing for Kendama, so maybe like one night out of the weekend that I can just get away from all that I'm doing would be nice. So contact me via Facebook and we'll figure something out. But other than that, yeah, for the next 2 weeks, no mailbag because of academic requirements. So, this is Sam Miller, aka Kendama Joe, thanking you for, putting more stuff in my mailbag, me answering it, and keep dominating.